I will now invite you to stay with us and enjoy this presentation. As you all have heard quite a few times, we're doing what we call We Gather in 2020. And some people have been asking for a little bit more information on what We Gather in 2020 is exactly about, what are some of the plans and so on. And so we're here and happy to give you an overview this afternoon by Mrs. Salma Green, the project coordinator of We Gather in 2020. She will walk us through a quick overview of some of the details, and then we will take some questions. So please give her a warm round of applause, please, and welcome her to the podium.
Yes.
Family, innovation, and investment. Excellence, innovation, time. Industry. Is that called?
Parish is about family, pride, and togetherness.
Family, friendship.
Innovation.
Fabulous is about culture. We are never afraid to lend a helping hand.
First, great, and private. This is about investment.
Family.
We are one, we are vision. We are one, we are vision.
We are one.
We are one, we are vision.
Honorable Prime Minister, Mayor Amor Motley, the newly elected Executive Council of the Barbados Labour Party, and delegates to the 81st Annual Conference, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be here this afternoon, and I wish to thank you all for the opportunity to share a bit more on We Gathering 2020. I know you've heard that, but many of you want a little bit more detail in terms of exactly what is We Gathering. So, what is We Gathering? It's a homecoming for Barbadians and those who love Barbados to come home and contribute to developing Barbados. 2020 has been designated as the year where no matter where you are in the world as a Barbadian, we will congregate in Barbados from January 1st, 2020, to reunite with friends and family, to reconnect to core Barbadian traditions and values, and to commit to that perfect vision of who we are as a people. And 2020 was not selected by chance. We all know, and I wear my glasses, if I take them off right now, I can't see very well. And we know for those of us who have 2020 vision, it means that we are seeing clearly and perfectly. And so during the year, as we all come home to the Rock, we are going to be crafting that perfect vision of who we are.
When they have the education at international level, so that it's free with everyone. When they have jobs available for them, if not jobs, then proper opportunities to start their own business to raise up. I really have a big thought on Barbados to change Barbados the best they can, to be proud of their country, and so that wherever they travel, they will always be proud. That is my vision for Barbados. That I will always have to my children and want to start working out to be. That's the vision for the future of the young people. And once I get older, and I work my hardest, and I have confidence that this is the Barbados I'm doing to start talking to my children. And I'll be happy at the future of the vision for Barbados.
certainly a wonderful articulation of our vision of the future for Barbados, the vision from our young people in Barbados, and we want to be able to have that conversation during 2020 in terms of what that vision is going to be. So exactly why are we gathering in 2020? For a number of key reasons. One, there's a huge diaspora out there where we can find Barbadians in Asia, in Europe, in North America, in Brazil, right here throughout the Caribbean. And we want to be able to deepen that connection between Barbados and other Barbadians in the diaspora. We want to showcase the diversity of Barbadian talent and excellence. And coming to this process, I've learned so much about Barbadians over the last couple of months. The excellent works that they're doing in all spheres of lives throughout the globe. So we're going to showcase that in 2020. Barbadian is an excellent brand. It's tried and it's proven, and we want to be able to highlight that black brand, that authentic brand during 2020. And of course, we all know that Barbadians are giving people, they're caring people, so we want to be able to showcase that community spirit and philanthropy that we're known for. So, exactly why are we gathering in 2020? I know many of you have heard, and you probably think it's just to have fun and have a good time, but there's a deeper reason behind why we're gathering. Ultimately, we want to empower Barbadian communities through enterprise. Throughout 2020, a lot is going to be happening at the community level. And it's all aimed to entertain and educate, but there's also a component of it that allows entrepreneurs in communities across Barbados to earn income and to start new endeavors. We want to focus on a new national consciousness. And exactly what does that mean? I hear often people saying, who is a Barbadian? What is a Bajan? When you say I is a Bajan, what exactly does that mean? Do we have pride? Do we know what it means to be industrious? What do we want to reflect of ourselves in 2020 and beyond? So to be able to develop that consciousness of ourselves. And of course, I spoke to having the collective vision of who we are going forward. So when exactly are we gathering? From January 2020, we're going to be moving from St. Lucie in the north all the way through to St. Michael, pretty much in the central part of Barbados. We're culminating in St. Michael on the 29th of November, and then we'll climax with a huge Christmas extravaganza in Queen's Park on the 25th of December. We know Christmas morning in Queen's Park, and we're looking forward to seeing all of you out in your finery. So here's the parish calendar. We go through St. Lucie, and I know gathered here this evening, we have Barbadians from every parish. I myself have to choose. I was born in St. John, so I'm looking forward to going back to St. John in May. I look forward to going to St. George in June, and then I can celebrate with everybody come December. So if we move on from that slide, we'll show you what the calendar is. So there you have the calendar, and you can select which month you want to celebrate with. But this evening, I'm going to encourage all of us. As I speak to people, I say, I would have grown up in St. John. I live in St. George right now, but there's a lot that I have to discover about Barbados. So we're going to encourage you in 2020 to move across Barbados, and even if it's not your month, to celebrate with each parish during each month for Regathering 2020. And what exactly are we going to be doing during that period? There are a whole set of activities and events planned, starting with your national and community-based activities. We're going to be looking at sporting events, major festivals like Crop Over and NIFCA. We're going to be celebrating through entertainment. Genealogy is going to focus very, very heavily throughout 2020. This is very important because as we talk to Barbadians in the diaspora, many of them have children and grandchildren who they're going to be bringing home to Barbados, who have never seen Barbados, who've never seen many of their relatives in Barbados. And they're going to have the opportunity through the Archives Department to be able to trace their roots, trace their lineages. We're going to encourage you as well to engage in family reunions because this is touted as the biggest family reunion for 2020. So as families come home, we're encouraging you to get together with your families and to celebrate with your families. Beautification is critical during 2020, and we all know that as Bajans, when we invite persons into our homes, into our communities, we want to make sure it's clean, it's sparkling. So cleanup and beautification is going to be an important feature. The Prime Minister has challenged us to plant 1 million trees during 2020. And that means that every single Barbadian has to plant a tree or two. So for us at home, we're expected to plant at least 2 trees, a fruit tree or food-bearing tree and an ornamental tree. For those who are coming home, we're going to encourage those persons to plant trees as well. School children will be asked to plant trees. Community groups will be asked to plant trees. And of course, we have to build out our National Botanical Garden as well. So we'll be planting trees there. As I drive around Barbados, every morning I drive down My Lord's Hill, and there's one little chattel house on the right next to the gas station. And I can't help but remark on how beautifully appointed it is. The garden is small, but it's always immaculate and well manicured. And we want to be able to see many such projects across communities in Barbados for 2020. And of course, cleanup is going to be critical. Barbados does not look like the Barbados I know when I was growing up. And I share this all of the time. When I was little, or I should say younger, I was expected at certain times of the year to clean up. So we had to weed, we had to clean drains, you had to help paint the house. All of that was critical to ensuring that our surroundings and our community was kept clean. And even though we have a ministry that's responsible for that, we're going to be asking Barbados to lend their hands to the plow for that to happen during 2020. Food. There's no gathering in Barbados that happens without good food. Good Bajan food. Whether it is pudding in sauce, whether it's some poon, whether it's sorrel at Christmas, whether it's some good mobi. So we're going to be celebrating through food in each community during 2020. Each parish will be asked to showcase its vegetable, its fruit, a protein, and be able to come up with creative dishes. We're going to match our master chefs with home cooks. I discovered very recently, I was talking to my mom about it, and she said to me, you know, many years ago, I was featured in the paper, and she was given an award as having the best fish cakes in Barbados. Truth be told, Myrtle Husbands from Poole St. John. And I'm sure that right now, there are many other home cooks that can put her to the test. So we want for 2020 to bring out those home cooks. We have excellent chefs that are awarded every year as they go abroad to match them together to celebrate our food. Fellowship is very important. And I'm going to ask a question. Do you know how many churches there are in St. Lucie and St. Peter put together? Just 2 parishes. Anybody? 40? No, 80? Kind of close. There are 89 churches between the two parishes. No, I should say 90. 42 in St. Lucie and 48 in St. Peter. That's a lot of churches and just two parishes. We are very much a faith-based country. We take our religion very seriously, so that's going to be central to 2020. So there are going to be lots of faith-based activities kicking off, especially in St. Lucie, in January 2020. Philanthropy, and again, I would say to you, Barbados is made up of several communities, and we are known for helping out one another. And during 2020, it's not just going to be about the fun and the fetting, but we're going to be asking you to give back. For Barbadians coming home in particular, they're very, very eager to do that. Give back in terms of our national hospitals projects and the 4 aspects that we're focusing on: the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, the Geriatric Hospital, the Psychiatric Hospital, and our district hospitals. And if you live in communities with hospitals, find some way to give back. And it doesn't only have to be in terms of money. We welcome that at the end of the day, but give back in terms of in-kind assistance, but also give of your time. And I always urge persons as I talk to them, the geriatric hospitals, many of our older Barbadians reside in those hospitals. They don't get many visits from people, and please at least put aside an hour of your time during 2020 to go and visit with those old folks. You may have a school in your community that needs help. It may need fencing. It may need some textbooks. Wherever you can, just give back, because we are focusing during 2020 on giving back. As we move on, we're doing this not only in of itself for 2020, but there are going to be some significant benefits that we hope to realize coming out of 2020. One of the key things is making sure that there's social cohesion, moving back to that spirit of community, where across Barbados, communities can interact with one another, can share resources with one another. We want to build out that new national consciousness. Capacity building is also going to be very key for us, because as we roll out the projects during 2020, we're going to be looking at across ministries, making sure that we develop the ability to be able to do this beyond 2020. I spoke to the culture of philanthropy. Environmental protection and preservation is critical, so greening Barbados is going to be a central target for us. Recycling and repurposing. We create a lot of garbage in Barbados. The dump is overfilling. So we have to look at new ways of dealing with our waste management. One way that we want to involve young Barbadians is to look at installing large pieces of art on public buildings in Barbados. And that art is going to reflect their vision of who we are now and for the future. And we're going to start our first art installation on the huge wall outside of the Barbados Post Office. Already, the call has gone out. We've received over 50 designs. Those designs are being analyzed by a panel of experts, and the 3 top designs in a couple of weeks are going to come out for each one of you to vote on which one we should see on the post office. So you are going to be involved in the process. And throughout the year, we're going to be installing a number of murals, gardens, installations that reflect what is truly great about Barbados and excellent about Barbados. And of course, they improve the aesthetic of our buildings as well. Entrepreneurship and enterprise creation, again, very, very critical. We are in a process of transformation right now that's going to be led by economic growth and by diversity. And at the end of the day, underpinning all of this is how we can generate new jobs. Thank you. Are we on? I love this so I can move around. At the end of the day, we want to be able to generate new jobs, look at new emerging businesses that will come out of the communities here in Barbados. And already we're looking at developing a number of key sectors and economies. Already I know that you would have heard the discussion around the medical cannabis sector and how we can capitalize on that. We've also heard about the diaspora economy. And we're going to be seeking to build these out because these have opportunities for us to earn foreign exchange in 2020 and beyond. So definitely that's going to be a legacy benefit for us. So, what are the impacts? When we institute all of these programs in 2020, what's it going to mean for us as Barbadians? One, it's going to be able to strengthen our legislative and regulatory frameworks. And what does that really mean? And I'll give you an example. We're asking persons to come home in 2020 to give back to our hospitals. And as we talk to people in the diaspora, one of the things that they have been saying is, okay, we're going to give, but when we come home, we don't want to have to bring stuff and have to pay lots of taxes. We don't want to have a hassle going through customs to be able to get that stuff out. We want that if the hospital needs something, we know what they want, and we know what's the criteria for giving it so that we can give it easily. And it's those kinds of things that we're going to be working on to make sure that there are policies and procedures and guidelines in place to be able to support our initiatives. Investment is going to be key for us to stimulate growth. So ultimately, we're going to be looking at investment in projects and infrastructure and services here in Barbados. And in terms of the sound, I'm just going to pause a minute. Can I move from here or will it interrupt the sound? I can move? Okay, thank you. So we're looking at investment in projects, infrastructure, and services here in Barbados. I feel very disconnected. This is better. Thank you. Now I can see faces. Ultimately, there are about 1 million Barbadians out there in the diaspora. And for us, we just want a small percentage of those to come home, about 6 to 7%. And that's going to help us to increase the visitors coming to Barbados. But more importantly, we don't just want them to come. We want them ultimately to spend. So it's going to increase our visitor spend, which is going to help to put some new life and drive our economy. Thank you very much for that. Expanded opportunities for communities. We are going from parish to parish, St. Lucie to St. Michael. And as we go through, there are many entrepreneurs, there are people with ideas who are just waiting to burst out with them. And ultimately, we want them to have the opportunity to earn income so that we can empower communities to create viable and sustainable livelihoods for themselves. There are two of you. Wow. Nice. As we showcase the events and activities throughout 2020, Barbadians across our island will be able to access sporting, cultural, entertainment activities that they probably would not have had the opportunity to do so before. So Laugh It Off will come to your community. NIFCA will come to your community. We're encouraging all of our promoters to bring their events to your community. So as opposed to having to come down to Kensington Oval or come to the gymnasium, you will have the opportunity to engage in these activities within your community. The Genealogy Marketplace, which is fascinating. I said to the chief archivist when she made the presentation to launch the schools competition, I was a little bit disappointed because when the list came out of the 5 top families, I expected my family to be there. I didn't see the mascals or the husbands. But there's opportunity to explore that during 2020. You can research your family. That will be coming to you, and will become engaged. And it's so interesting when she spoke how the names came about, because we assume that when we hear certain names, like the Parises from St. Joseph over there, the Brathwaites from St. Lucie, we assume, but when they dig deeper, we realize that sometimes these persons came from other parts of Barbados and not where we know them to reside right now. So that's going to be an interesting feature. Some people have discovered that their roots, what they thought were their roots, aren't really their roots. So that might spark a whole national discussion, and hope no major fights when people find out exactly what their lineage is. And then we ultimately want to have more cohesion in terms of the approach that government is going to take to developing this project. And that's largely because ministries across Barbados and agencies are going to be responsible for implementing the activities under We Gathering 2020. And I'm going to go through them with you, because since I have a captive audience, I'm going to take the opportunity to share as much information as possible. So Greening Barbados, and this is a project that is near and dear to the Prime Minister, so she's going to lead on it. The tree planting and building out the National Botanical Gardens, and the implementing partners will be the Ministry of Environment and National Beautification. And I'm not going to go through it exhaustively in terms of the partners, but there are a number of committees and partners that will assist, but I'll just share the lead with you. National Beautification, the Ministry of Environment, obviously. Our national cleanup will be led by the Ministry of Transport, Works and Maintenance. And if we move on, we can see the other ministries. Philanthropy, because the focus is going to be on the hospitals of Barbados, that will be led by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Investment, we have a national organization that is tasked with looking at outward and inward investment for Barbados. That's Invest Barbados, and they will be leading that charge. Enterprise and the Nighttime Economy, the Ministry of Small Business, Entrepreneurship and Commerce. Then we go on, the parish organizing committees, and I'm sure that you would have heard about them. Some of you may be sitting on those committees. That effort will be spearheaded by the Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment. The Ideas Fora and the Schools Project. Now, during 2020, the Prime Minister has committed to going through communities and going into schools in a very informal way to have conversations with our young people, to find out exactly what their thoughts are in terms of where we are and where we need to move forward. That is going to be led by the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training. Genealogy through the Archives Department, as they're well placed to do that. And our national events calendar. And I know for many of you, please bear with us. Everyone keeps asking, where's the calendar? What's going to be happening? We're working on it, and it's going to be coming to you soon. And you're going to be very excited because it's a diverse, innovative calendar that's expected to cater to a wide demographic. So our young people, our disabled, our elderly, everybody's going to be involved, and there's going to be something there for everybody. So that's coming soon. Local mobilization and marketing is going to be spearheaded by the Ministry of Information, Broadcasting and Public Affairs. Our diaspora engagement and visitor experience. Minister Husbands, I've got you, ma'am. Minister Husbands, who's spearheading that. And I want to share a little bit about the visitor experience and why we focused on that. We've heard the criticism that when you come through the airport, and I've had the experience, and I'll share that with you. When persons come through the airport, it's a hassle. It takes long. You have to wait for your luggage. Customs officers not very friendly. They're digging you up. You can't ask people to come home. Pardon me?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I can verify a couple of days ago, yes.
We're working on that. I came through the airport recently wearing my regathering shirt, tired as ever after having gone to do an engagement, and I figure this is not going to be hard. So I get into the airport, and there is the nothing to declare line, and there's the red line for something to declare. The nothing to declare line was very long, and I decided, okay, I am wearing my regathering shirt, so they must know that I am legitimate. So I'm going to go into the shorter red line and explain myself. So I waited, and as I got to the pleasant customs officer, I said to her, ma'am, I really have nothing to declare, but the line is very long. I just got home. What's going to happen? She looked at me. Put your suitcase here, let me see what's in it. She went through it. She asked me to close it up. She said, is there anything? I said, well, I only went to duty free and I got some liquor. She asked me how many bottles. And she said, okay, ma'am, $52.70. I said, but wait, I just come home from working hard. How you mean $52.70? I was doing my job. She said, ma'am, I'm doing my job as well. Can I complain about that? I closed my mouth and I gave her the $52.70 and I went on my way. But I say that to say that not every Barbadian is going to be that understanding, and we already have the experience of persons coming home in the diaspora having that complaint. So the visitor experience is going to be wonderful. As you approach Barbados, it's going to be announced that you're heading home for Regathering 2020. As you land and step off of that plane, when you come out, hopefully it won't be raining, but you will feel the Barbadian sunshine on you and feel the heat hit your chest as you come through the door. And when you descend, as you walk towards the arrivals lounge, you will see our wonderful facade welcoming you. All of the personnel who are usually there will be smiling and happy to see you. You will be speedily brought through immigration, no long lines because you're Barbadians coming home. And as you wait for your luggage, we will offer you a beverage, non-alcoholic or alcoholic, your choice. And we'll offer you a little confectionery so you'll get a piece of Barbados. You'll see all of our promotional material. You will exit the airport, and as you look at the roundabout, that beautiful Barbadian flag will be flying. You will know that you are home and you are ready and wearing and to go. Does that sound like a wonderful experience? Definitely. So we're working on that, and that is being led by Grantley Adams. Are you winding me up, Mr. Chairman? Yes. I'll be there in a minute. So as we move on, because I have to ask of you exactly what will be happening in 2020. We've gone through this, and if we move on now to our updates, many persons have been asking what it is that you're doing. We're hearing things, but what you're doing. We've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. We've started the activities, we've started our media coverage, we've gone into the diaspora, and we're going to be focusing on Barbados soon. But right now, Barbadians at home, because Regathering is not just about people in the diaspora coming home. It's about me and you who live here. So we need each one of you to be part of this process. So share the information that we give you. We have some flyers for you. Organize events within your community and share them with us. Plan your family reunions. Support each parish as they have their activities. Share your vision for how you want Barbados to be. Join our tree planting campaign and plant a tree, and start all now. Don't wait for 2020. Plant a tree. Be involved in the service and cleanup efforts. Start your greening initiatives at home. So instead of throwing out stuff, start to recycle, start to compost. Give back to our philanthropy drive. And I'm going to crave you for a minute. I need to speak to this, Mr. Chair. There are going to be awards given during 2020, 20 of them in each parish. Awards at a national level. 10 will go to locals and 10 to persons from the diaspora. So you can nominate persons for those awards. Highlight the excellent things that are being done in your community. And this one, I know that Minister Husbands will be very pleased that I'm highlighting this. Our We Gathering 2020 competition and global stories has been launched through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. And it's a competition that's encouraging Barbadians to go on and register your friends and family so they can come online and register so we know where they are, we have their information, and we know when they are coming home. And the ministry has excellent prizes. I'm so sorry because we can't join in the competition. But once you nominate 10 people, well, let's go to this and we can go back to that.
In Barbados is to see a small developing nation achieving great things on both the regional and international scale. And we also need to focus on education and try to educate the young people of Barbados because they will eventually be our leaders of this country. And that the education will make them better. And
the website.
Also need a little bit of assistance, like how students can come back and give either financially or give materials or stuff like that. And I know that this can make Barbados a better place.
Okay. Thank you. There's a visually impaired person here who's asked for me to share what the website is in terms of the competition, and it's regathering.foreign.gov.bb. You can go on and register. So, we're asking you this evening, we've shared information with you. Hopefully you are energized and stimulated to be part of Regathering. And we are encouraging you to come and join us on this journey for 2020. I expect that once I leave here, all of you will become part of my ambassadorial team to spread the word of Regathering 2020. So I wish to thank you. There's going to be our contact information coming up. And of course, we're open to any questions, Mr. Chair. We can take a few questions. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I am a part of the 2024 Christchurch, yes. And we wanted to know if we can use the logo to put on our shirts we wear, so we have to ask permission.
Go ahead, say that.
I am a part of the Vision 2020 group for Christchurch East, and I wanted to know, I created a logo, if we can use it with the Regathering.
Logo?
Yes, please. We have to ask permission.
Yes. What I would suggest is that you make contact with me afterwards. I will give you my card and I'll work out those details with you because we'll need to get the advice from our marketer in terms of exactly how to use it. But I want you to know, and thank you so much for doing that. Just to let everyone know that our logos are out. It's free to use. So you can use it, you can put it on all of your materials, you can put it on your shirts, your caps, your bags, advertise Regathering as much as you can, and of course we'll also share the guidelines for using it. That's important because at the end of the day, we don't want you to change the colors, we don't want you to change the size, we don't want you to change the shape, but we want you to use it as widely as possible. Any more questions? Please. Well, there are mics on the floor as well, but I'll come to you.
My question is about the tree planting. Now, as you know, the pride of Barbados is our national flower. And I was wondering if there were any mechanisms in place to make sure that every school, every community center, and so on, have Pride of Barbados planted at their locations. Maybe the NCC could be asked to hatch seedlings and so on, because I would like to see a wider variety of the national plant across Barbados.
Thank you, ma'am. An excellent question. The Ministry of Environment and National Beautification is going to be working along with the committee in terms of the tree planting. And I will share with you that they are very focused on making sure that we plant indigenous trees. So the Pride of Barbados, we don't see dunk trees a lot anymore. We don't see fat pork trees. We don't see sour sop trees. We don't see gooseberry trees. Maybe in some areas in the country, but they're not widespread. I know St. James used to be known for lots and lots of dunk trees. So they are going to be planting those indigenous trees, and the ministry will let us know in terms of the program for planting those trees, so you can look out for more information as time goes by.
Yes, I want to find out organizations such as Optimus, Girl Guides, and so forth, organizations like that, how do they get involved?
Thank you very much. It's very much a partnership between the public service, the private sector, and civil society. About a week ago, we would have had a meeting with the service clubs. Upcoming is going to be our meeting with the 4-H, the Girl Guides, and so on. But you don't need to wait for us to come to you. You can reach out to us as well. And we are very much expecting for those organizations to be a part of the process, because things like the community service, the cleanup, the tree planting, we expect to be led at the community level and spearheaded by community organizations, in addition to recommending any other activities that are key to your organizations that can happen.
One of our projects that we have started since we gathered and came on board, we started in various different communities where our girls live. We have 10 homes, elderly people. We are actually fixing and cleaning their homes. So would that be actually considered a project?
Very much so. Our focus is on giving back wherever possible. And where you look around your community and you see a need to give back and that you want to focus the efforts of your organization on, please do. So you can contact us at the Secretariat. Our number is 535-7532. We'll put up that information for you so that you can see it. And we can also connect you with your parish organizing committee so that you can let them know of your efforts.
I am the Vice President of an association called Beta that represent what we call the shared economy. People that have rooms in their houses all over Barbados and every parish that rent to tourists. And we are a very active organization, and we have contacted your office to work with y'all. I'd like to know, would you be happy to come and do this presentation to my association, and how can we get involved and market our property? Because we market on Airbnb and those platforms. How can we effectively market our property to the diaspora?
Certainly, we would be happy to come and meet with you. Accommodation is going to be critical. We expect thousands of people to come home. We want them to share with friends and family, but they're not all going to stay with friends and family. Our hotels will accommodate some of them, but persons would want to stay in more intimate accommodation. So we look forward to that. So once you contact us, I'll share my information with you, and we will come out and make that presentation too. Thank you.
One of the things that we will notice on many of our highways, the houses that have galvanized, as we call it, paling, they're rusty and looking bad. What's really going to happen when persons start flowing into Barbados where those things are concerned?
That is an interesting question that you really want me to answer. I can try my best. We are encouraging persons to spruce up wherever possible. So if you look at your house and you realize that the paling is rusty and you have the means to do so, then please help yourself in terms of that. Well, we want to encourage that, but I mean, if the person has the means to do it. But realistically, when you look across the landscape, not every house is going to have a wonderful wall or gates. That is part of our landscape ultimately. But we will encourage people to help themselves. And as Barbadians, we know where we come from. We are accustomed to rusty palings.
As we continue on the road to regathering, would t-shirts be sold
around across Barbados?
Again, a very good question. I'm going to make my way through to you. The question was asked, are T-shirts going to be sold? And we're saying yes. The project implementation unit will develop some promotional material, but we are encouraging entrepreneurs in each community to come up with things. So if you want to create some T-shirts and sell them, go right ahead. Using our logo, and it's free to use once you stick to our guidelines. And this is true across Barbados. And they're going to be excellent opportunity to develop promotional materials, goods and services. People are going to need transportation, they're going to need accommodation, they're going to need food, they're going to need printing services, they're going to need all kinds of things. So you look around and find out where the need is, and we're hopeful that you will start your own business coming out of this. Thank you.
Thank you, man, for telling us a few things. As a small farmer who lives in St. Lucie, I want to know that you and your people will make sure that no river tamarind trees are planted. For there's so many river tamarind trees around here that I'm hoping that people recognize that they are no use to us other than harbor the monkeys, destroy the planet, and I want to make sure that no river tamarind trees are planted. Please, none of those. Remember that some was planted by a particular government, and they're standing up now like sugar cane. Thank you.
We've heard you, sir, and thank you very much for that contribution. Yes, I'll have a chat with you in a minute, ma'am. Okay? Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, Selma. Stephen Savory from the Parish Organizing Committee in St. John. A follow-up to the question that you had just now with regard to T-shirts. Now, in your promotional and marketing materials, there were... Sorry, I have a soft voice. In your promotional and marketing materials, there were colors that seemingly were associated with the various constituencies. And I want you to address if it is that those particular parish organizing committees can be able to utilize those colors in preparation of the particular T-shirts for their constituencies.
Okay, thank you. And this is going to be our last question because we need to continue with the program. But just to answer you, the colors for the parishes are the same as those used by the Community Independent Secretariat. You may realize that on our materials, the colors may seem a little bit different, and that's only because of printing. That's a technical challenge, but the colors are the same, so please feel free to use them. I am going to be around for a little bit. Should you have any questions and you have our contact details, I will leave some cards so that you can contact me. And thank you so much for your attention, and we look forward to you joining us in 2020.
Thank you very, very much. Give her another round of applause, please. I am actually very heartened by the level of the conversation that we've had over the last 3 days, really, including Friday. And I also think you'll need to give yourselves a round of applause. You've really been a fantastic 81st Annual Conference audience. Thank you very much, Salma. I just want to say 2 quick things before we invite our executive to the podium, to the stadium, to the stage. The stadium is on my mind since the Prime Minister announced we're getting a brand new one now. I have a small ad. Business people interested in expanding their businesses in Guyana or Suriname, you are invited to a session on opportunities and how to do business in Guyana on Tuesday, October 29th at the LESC, starting at 9 a.m. So if you have a business and you want to expand to Guyana or Suriname, please go and visit the LESC on October 29th. That's Tuesday at 9 a.m. And I also want to say on a personal note, there's a strong supporter of ours whose daughter is in the hospital. She's in Ward A5, room 3, Nayam Stout. You might have seen it circulating. She's 60 years old. She was diagnosed with cancer when she was 6 years old. And now 10 years later, she's in the hospital and they can't exactly determine what it is, but she has to have fluid drawn from her stomach every day. And the family wouldn't mind if Labour Party people would pass and look for the daughter as well as to support in their efforts to have the best medical attention for their daughter. So she's in Ward A5, room 3, Nayam Stout, and the family would love to have your support in any possible way. And of course, we would all like you to pray for her as well. I now invite the new executive, to join me on this stage. And party, this is perhaps, in my mind, one of the most important parts of the party's business as we go through our resolutions that were submitted by yourselves. And this actually shapes the course of the Barbados Labour Party. So please, those who are outside, those who are inside, those who submitted resolutions, we invite you all and I invite the executive to the stage. Take your places. And at this point, the media, thank you very much for covering this event, but this is no in-house party business. So I'm also asking the media, thank you very much for your coverage, but this is really private business now. Thanks for the last 3 days of your wonderful coverage. Give the media a round of applause, please. And those in the media, again, we're just asking you to recognize that this is not for the media. This is just party business.
Gathering discussion is just